Good morning, everybody. John Spiegel here for GAI Insights, bringing you the top news, essential, important, or optional in the AI world, putting thoughts in your head and time in your day. All right, we have Ankash and Paul and myself. Got the core team here. Got some interesting news coming up. Got some model improvements, some applications, and so forth, as usual. Ankash. Of course, if you want to follow along with the articles, gaiinsights.com/articles. Any commentary you put in the chat here, we will try to integrate and deal with. All right. Akash, first article.
So thanks, John. So the first one that we have for today comes from A16Z, and it is about the state of consumer AI 2025.
Yeah, let's see. And on this one, I can, do you want to take it, Akash? You want me to? Whichever.
I can take it, John. Yeah.
Right.
So basically, this one talks about the adoption of consumer AI, that is ChatGPT and other related chatbots, and it has some really interesting findings. So it highlights that once users are addicted to one chatbot, it's really difficult for them to move on to others. So it showed that only 9% of people who were using ChatGPT, they considered other chatbots, and very limited number of people are using different set of chatbots. So there are, I think, only 3% people who have Gemini, ChatGPT, and one other tool that they are using. But it also highlights that some of the recent features that ChatGPT has been introducing, they haven't been really successful and haven't been able to sort of help in user retention on ChatGPT, whereas Gemini model, especially in image generation use cases and enterprise use cases, the adoption is increasing really fast. So I think it provides a good overview of what we are seeing in the market right now, and it sort of resonates with our findings as well. So I would say an important read for an AI leader.
Yes, and I don't know if you want to show the chart, Ankash, of the GPT usage of that one. There we go. Monthly web users across LLM assistants. So you can see, as you say, Gemini is starting to grow now, but that top line, very, very stable here. So you gave this important, optional, what?
Important, John.
Important. Paul, where are you on this one?
I was more essential. I think the AI leaders that I keep talking with are really trying to figure out what's the right technical and secure employee chatbot strategy. Is it ChatGPT? Is it Copilot? And this talks about the switching cost. Yeah. Second is we see in all our training here, I mean, the bloatware now on these tools is just massive, and consumers are just using that. And I think that'll be indicative, and it is indicative of what we're seeing in employees. So I think that's an important one. And, and third, I think it shows a power, and we've known this all along. We know there's a power, it's in the consumer space. There's a power of UX. And the 20 years in SaaS, we've always talked about the obviously integration being switching costs, but retraining corporate employees on a UX for an HR app or supply chain app or whatnot is absolutely non-trivial. Sure. So as you start thinking about these tools, it's not so easy. Oh, they're all just chatbots, and we're going to take 5,000 people using Copilot and just move them over to ChatGPT. So I had essential.
Interesting. I started off on optional. It kind of ticked me off in terms of, I didn't think it was very well put together in terms of how they presented the data and so forth. But listening to you and Ankash, I could go essential on this one. I think the persistence of the as you mentioned, Ankash, the persistence of the first use is really huge. The other thing I remember many years ago, I was doing a presentation for a company, and then Bill Gates was earlier in the day, and somebody asked him, what percentage of Microsoft Excel functions are actually used? And he shot right back. He said 13%. He said the vast, but what's interesting is who uses. I think a lot of the stickiness is not only the middle, but for those few people who actually do go create stuff, right? They choose from that thing. I wouldn't be surprised if these tools turn out to that. But the difference here, I think, is that it's much easier when somebody creates a GPT or a gem to share that knowledge. Like if somebody creates a macro in Excel, right, you have to go in and figure out what the heck the thing does before you can use it. these things, can explain themselves, which is really quite profoundly different, I think. But we'll see.
John, I think that's the dilemma. I mean, if you look at the, Slack versus Teams, those things are powerful because that department level is all using the same tool.
Yes.
So at a Fidelity, I want everyone in my compliance group either using Copilot or ChatGPT. So it's non-trivial thinking through the switching cost.
Absolutely. And Ashish, I think, raises a very interesting point. The assumption, certainly, of OpenAI's consumer depth is going to turn into enterprise adoption, and they're getting ready for their IPO in the spring. People are aiming for $1 trillion. We'll see. Maybe, but I think the browser wars might be instrumental here. Remember, Netscape went crazy, right? And then Microsoft came in and owned it for a while, and Google really ended up owning the roost. I'm voting on Google. I think Google will. If I were OpenAI, I would be scared to death of Google, because they've got, not only they have billions of dollars a week that they can throw at this the whole domain. But I continue to be impressed by the performance of their models and the engineering and the integration. I mean, they're a scary competitor if you're OpenAI, I think.
And as we talked, John, don't forget they can drop pros cost to zero until they jam up OpenAI's 80% of their revenue, which is consumer subscription right now.
Yeah, Ashish raises another interesting point. I was just talking to a provider that does a lot of voice integration with these models, and this notion of memory. And we had this article yesterday about memory. I think I agree with Ashish. Memory is going to create the stickiness, and how we think about our interactions over time. Well, that's another interesting thing. Google should make Gemini free. Yeah. It's just the challenge there. I wonder is antitrust. I mean,
Yeah, you're correct.
John,
one donation will take care of that, though.
Well, let's not go there. Anyway, okay. Maybe Truth Social should merge with Google instead of merging with the whatever.
You saw Truth Social is an AI company now, right? AI power company.
No, I saw they had that merger. I really didn't look at it. It's like, wow, hey, whatever. All right. So we're going to call this one essential. Stickiness matters. Next.
Okay, the next one comes from Reuters, and it talks about how China built its Manhattan project to rival the West in AI chips.
Yeah, I mean, you read this thing, and Reuters, I think, does a good job here. They're going after ASML, right? And they've gotten Chinese nationals that used to work for ASML. They've hired other ASML ex-engineers. They put them under fake identities while they're in China, so they can't be tracked as easily. And they're grabbing last generation machines and reverse engineering it. And they say that it depends on who you believe. They're either 3 to 10 years away from being able to replicate the ultra high frequency ultraviolet in terms of etching and chip creation. And they've got a working prototype of what seems like last generation's technology. I think this is absolutely essential. I think the United States should be doing the same thing. Forget Greenland. If the Trump administration wants to, take the high ground for the future, it's being able to build these things in the United States and have the science here. That's going to be worth a lot more than Greenland is, in my opinion. We're busy pissing off our ally, which makes a lot of strategic sense. Anyway, the Chinese are going to do this. I think they're going to try to do vertically integrated. I understand discovery is different than copying, but look, this is a critical technology. This and the model technology. In terms of day-to-day for the AI leader, I think it's optional. I think it's well-written article. Deals with a little bit redundant, but deals with a critical issue, and I think is something that's just not talked about enough in the policy arena about how do we make sure that we're vertically, as a country, we're vertically integrated into the critical things, especially as we're backing away from our traditional allies who are providing us. I mean, when you pull it back, right? Who matters in here? The Netherlands and the Germans, right? Because you have the Zeiss Icon optics, which are sophisticated, and then you have the ASML, which was if you look at this article, was over a 12-year investment before R&D investment before it yielded economic return. Think about that, 12 years. How many American companies are willing to invest for 12 years? Google, for sure, Microsoft, but there aren't many. So God love them, but optional in this. What do you think, Ankash?
I think this is an important news, John. I think there are three things that are important for GenAI, right? There is power, there is compute, and there are models, right? China is already ahead of US on power and models, I would say, because of the algorithmic innovations that they are doing. And now they are getting the compute as well. So I think it will be a very interesting fight for the next 5, 10, 15 years.
Paul?
I'm on optional. I mean, the category is interesting. It's essential for policy wonks. AI leaders not going to be buying Chinese chips, and putting them into their on-prem area in the next 12 months.
Yeah, but a lot of companies going to be using Chinese models in the next 12 months.
But who cares what the chips are if they're using the Chinese models?
Yeah, no, I agree. I just think Kevin noted that Trump handed China a great opportunity by reverse engineering the new chips that NVIDIA is selling. I think that's true. Anyway, I think the emphasis on data centers and power, is important, but I don't think it's as important as the creation of chips. Anyway, whatever. Optional. Next.
The next one comes from Luma Lab, and they have introduced Ray 3 Modify.
Yeah, I love their videos here. They do it's kind of a fun thing that they've gone after here. What'd you think, Paul?
It's an announcement. It's Everyday Miracle. At one time, I wish I could just only focus on what's going on in video. It's so breathtaking, but optional.
All right. And Ankash, what do you think?
John, I was important on this one. I think we are seeing this new functionality from the video generation model vendors. So they are moving now from generate a new video to editing of existing clips. So basically, they are moving from experiment to production now. So what this adds is, so basically, with this particular model, you can start and end frame as you like, which helps in continuity of these clips, right? So let's say you are generating 20-second clips and you want a 1-minute video. So now you have control over the start and the end frame, and you can mix them together and create a long video. They have also added character reference. So you're generating 5 different clips, you can refer to that particular character, and it will maintain the costume, identity, everything consistent. And they also claim that the performance authenticity will be there while changing the elements. So if you are changing wardrobe, lighting, environment, etc., so they will keep it authentic, consistent across the clip. We already discussed a few of these kind of announcements, I think 2 weeks back, where there were 2 other models which have similar kind of features. So I think in 2026, we will see video models moving to proper production kind of an environment where you will be able to create long form videos with these models. So I was important for that reason. Maybe leaders in marketing, advertisements, branding, they need to know about this one.
Yeah, I was originally optional, but you're convincing me into important Ankash on this one because, and I was thinking about it. Paul is going to send it to one of our customers. I think the one that does a lot of this kind of work. Because it's, as you say, this notion of continuity by character and semantics and domain. If you've done any video production, that's central, right, in terms of how we think about stuff and the efficiency here, the ability to semantically describe this stuff and then have it turn into visual semantics is just fantastic, and it's fun. Anyway, I agree with you, Paul. It's like I wish we could just sit around and do videos all day.
And John, but look what the trend has been for the last 18 months. We've seen this both on image and video. Initially, it was image and video creation, and now we're actually seeing real competence in ongoing brand characterization across multiple frames or multiple
Sure.
images. It's just breathtaking. And just let the calendar roll 12 months from now, Ankash, and these are going to be indispensable editing tools. Change these three things here, make this colors off, move the character a little bit like that here. So,
Sure. Yeah, and you know what? It's going to be really interesting to see how it goes. There's going to be libraries. There's going to be ones you can rent. You know, how's that all going to work? What's going to continue to get stolen? You know, and stuffed into these things. What's fair use? You know, when you get into this, it's really interesting. Anyway, we're gonna. I'll give it an important. It's a beautiful thing. All right, important it is. Akash, next.
Okay, the next one comes from Mistral, and it is about Mistral OCR 3.
Yeah. I was looking at this thing, and I was going to give this an important because again, I'm about to send it to a client. This issue of optical care, this is one of those plumbing issues, you know, where you know, here in Chicago, a lot of times you see people in the street, you know, getting stuff dug up because they're replacing the lead pipes from the street into the house. You know, in a certain sense, you know, a lot of these PDFs are like, and a lot of these forms that people interact with, whether faxed or handwritten or you know, forms, they're the lead pipes of, you know, of large organizations, right? There's so much order information, customer information, specification information, configuration information that sit inside these things that are vital to filling the orders for many companies. So this idea of smart OCR, and I know there's a lot of competitors in it. Mistral seems to be doing a pretty good job here. And so I was going to give it an important, because you have a, you know, significant supplier with an advanced performance-wise, you know, it seems to be pretty good. And this issue, as much as it is a very operational and simple issue conceptually, is really operationally a challenging area for many firms. So I was going to vote for important on this one. What do you think, Paul?
Oh, 100% optional. I mean, this is the category is important, what you are just articulated. I mean, this is a product announcement and an important space here. There's no customers. You know, I think that, you know, we're estimating others that they're 100 million in revenue. So Mistral has definitely grown from the 30 million, I think, last year. But, you know, and we've seen this already. You know, it's a really smart Frontier lad comes out with something that they optimize for the benchmarks and does a press release and announcement.
All righty. The skeptic weighs in here. Akash, where are you?
John, I was with Paul on this one, optional due to a different reason. So I was reading on these OCR tools, and there are a lot of tools against which they haven't compared themselves. So it seems like there is some benchmark bias as well. So there are open source tools which are doing or providing better accuracy compared to this particular tool. So optional for that reason.
All righty. The optimist and the pessimist both told me optional, so optional it is. All right.
That's the way to do the votes.
Okay, moving on to the next one. This one is about emergence of human to robot transfer in vision language action models.
Yeah. You know, this one I looked at, and I don't know. I don't kind of get like what the issue is. Totally optional for me. I think that my question is like it's making the point that at a certain level of sophistication in the pre-training, that the transfer of human, it starts to learn better from human added knowledge. So when you're training a robot, you can train it, you know, with synthetic data, and then you have, you know, human like data, and then at a threshold point, you know, it is available that new data now improves the capability of the robot, even in domains it was not originally trained in or in activities. And I don't know. I spent a little time this morning, you know, going back and forth with the robots, like, why is this not obvious? And because to me, it seems like yeah, I mean, that's been I think a consistent finding across, which is a threshold point beyond which these models, can now extend into different areas. And there's an emergent semantics that allows you to translate across. That phenomenon is miraculous, but to me, it's a central phenomenon of all these large language models. And and then the differentiation here is, okay, even in areas that wasn't exactly data types that it wasn't exactly trained on, or domains and so forth. But to me, I don't know. But this is I had it as optional. What do you think here, Akash?
Optional for me as well, John. Well, this is an interesting concept. I don't really sort of believe them because it hasn't been tested broadly. So seems like a product announcement or a model announcement only. So optional for me as well. But if it is true, then I think the robotic training will improve multifold.
All right, Paul.
Optional.
All righty. Yeah, Kevin brings up something from our last one here. This Mistral test case for U.S. Many European companies seeking independence. Yeah, it's interesting you said that, Kevin. We had an early conversation right when we started the company. Paul and I started the company with some of the leaders at Mistral, and our advice to them was, hey, get with the big European providers, companies, Bayer, Novartis, whatever, and also with the defense manufacturers and intelligence agencies and the governments, because back then, back in 2023, we said, look, this is going to be a national security issue, and people are going to want to not buy just the American models or just the Chinese models. They're going to want to have their own stuff. And there are so few European champions in this, and even Middle Eastern champions. And the Middle Eastern champions, you got to watch a little bit because they have very complex relationships from a European standpoint. Anyway, and so I agree with you, Kevin, that issue of national sovereignty is going to be big. And I'm actually kind of surprised that more nations aren't going harder at it, but whatever. Okay, this one's optional. Next.
Okay, the next one comes from OpenAI, and it is a case study about how Podium is arming 10,000 plus SMBs with AI agents.
Yeah, Akash, you want to take this one?
So, John. Basically, Podium is a software vendor working with SMBs. What they did was in 2024, they introduced agents called Jerry. For HVAC, auto, and MedSpas. And these Jerry agents, they handle lead capture, scheduling, and follow-up for their clients. What Podium claims is that 40% of these inquiries, they come after hours and there is nobody to respond to them. And the fast reply that Jerry is helping them with helps in faster conversion. What they are providing is they are building on top of GPT 5.1, and they are providing a software which helps these SMBs to talk to the software, help them tune the Jerry sales and service customer agent in their sort of tone language that they want to use. They are providing out of the box agents in multiple industries, and they are also doing evaluation. Then it talks about GPT 5.1's performance on these benchmarks, which is not really relevant. I think the relevant thing is that they claim that it is helping increase the revenues by 30% and some other parameters as well. But what is interesting is that they claim that they are now working with 10,000 SMBs which are using this Jerry agent. So that speaks to OpenAI's penetration in the SMB market. So I had it important because it's a very basic use case, but they are doing it at scale. So important for that reason.
All righty, Paul.
Yeah, I had it. I thought a very interesting use case here. Because I'm very skeptical of the 10,000 at use. Great. Prove it to me. It should be trivially easy then to get 100 videos of small customers talking about how they're using it, or 50 logos you can have. So I had it as optional.
That's interesting. I had it as essential. The reason is, I think that in a lot of the discussion, certainly a lot of the articles and so forth we've seen, is that there's not a lot of discussion about how these small businesses and medium-sized businesses are adopting this stuff. And you have to remember that at least it's true, certainly in the European economies, the U.S. economy, the middle-sized and smaller, what the Germans call the Mittelstand, right? And then the mid-sized and smaller companies are where all the labor absorption is in the economy, right? Those are where the new jobs come from. And so the fact that, and Paul, you and I are dealing with a bunch of owners of mid-sized companies. I'm on the board of a company that's about 150 million bucks in sales. We're publicly traded. And the role of AI in those companies is very interesting. To have a provider like this come in for those companies that don't have enough volume and P&L, profit and loss, revenue and margin to go out and hire this kind of talent. A provider like this that comes in and applies it and then packages it up. Hey, you're in HVAC, and this is your tone, and this is who you want to go after, and so forth, and it runs automatically in the background. I think this is profound, in terms of where you want to talk about where the impact is going to be on labor in this country. I think it's going to be a combination of the professional class, which is going to get skinny down big time, right? The folks I've been in business with for most of my adult life, consultants and lawyers and advertisers and all that other stuff. I think those ranks are going to get shrunk big time. And then this other area of how even small and medium-sized businesses are going to be able to leverage their business without adding labor. So I think this is a central thing. And also you're going to have, this technology is going to it's going to be like Etsy for professional services and for activities, right? Everybody's going to have, all this platform of capability. And I think, in the trades and in construction and all kinds of stuff, it's going to really affect demand creation and service. So because of that, I thought it was essential. And, the AI leader, I think the AI leader can learn a lot about, what these package solutions do for smaller companies if they're at a big company. So anyway, I was making that case. So where are we? We got optional, important, and essential here. Okay. Well, in that case, it's essential. Okay.
Well, John, I do think it's interesting that, we saw, certainly verticalization of SaaS, real down levels, like a SaaS software for fire departments. And this is heading that way. And so, it's AI agents for fire department, AI agents for, flower shops, less than 50 people or 30 people. So.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's give this one an essential because, I'm also optimistic that we're going to have a revolution of, not revolution, but a great flowering of entrepreneurship on the back of these models. Take smaller businesses and scale them, enter with new businesses. I just hope as a nation, we also invest in our population and our talent so that we have more access, to this. Anyway. All right. Akash, if you could put the tote board together, Paul, announcements.
3 announcements. So this Monday for Learning Lab, we're going to have our predictions and wildcards for 2026. So join us at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. Next Tuesday is our weekly training on Copilot. So if you need last-minute shopping and want to use Copilot, come and learn in that. And then for this show, we're going to be off the 25th and 26th of December and January 1st and 1 and 2, January 1st and 2nd.
Right. So we're doing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, not Thursday, Friday, in those 2 weeks.
Correct.
All righty. Well, have a great AI day. Thanks, everybody. Akash, Paul, have a good weekend. See you on Monday. Bye-bye.
Kevin, Vivek, Ashish, thanks for your comments.
Absolutely.